Boxing BLVD with Hearn. Welcome to Australia.
Thank you.
So DAZN making real big moves. Just made a huge move in Australia, purchasing Foxtel. What does that mean for Australian boxing and Australian boxing fans?
Yeah, I mean, I've been a big believer for a while now that boxing has huge potential here. Not just because you have tremendous fighters, but also I think the fan base is. I feel like you guys are like us, right? We love great sport. You know, we love a night out. We like entertainment, and we like real fights. And I think that there's a big future, not just for Australian fighters travelling internationally, but for them fighting at home as well. And this fight on Wednesday really solidifies that. I think it's the best fight in the cruiserweight division. For me, it was a fight that I saw coming in 12 months, not on January the 8th. But I'm so pleased that we got it because it sets up a big year for Australian boxing. We'll be here, of course, on Wednesday. March, we'll be back with George Kambosos, Skye Nicolson, maybe Nyika Johnson as well, Justice Honey, Connor Wallace, Liam Parra. We've got so much talent here, and I'm really excited for 2025.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you've had so much success in the UK. You've taken Matchroom to a whole new stratosphere that it was in the 90s. But our market is a lot smaller. So do you see potential in the pie actually getting bigger and actually growing boxing as a sport?
Do you know what I think is key? Is we've got to try and find a way to do regular shows off pay-per-view. Because I feel like the model in Australia has always been just pay-per-view, right? And it's like, you got stars like Justice, you got stars like Nikita Zoo, who are fighting in front of 5,000 and 10,000 audience on TV. It's not big enough to grow these fighters internationally. I think Jai Opetaia against Bradis is a great example. Jai Opetaia should be an Australian superstar. For what he did that night, to win that world championship, to go through those broken jaws, but it was on pay-per-view. Because you have to do it on pay-per-view because the broadcaster says we only want to do it on pay-per-view. What I would love to see from DAZN, or what I would love to see through that new purchase, is to actually create a schedule for Australian boxing. We could have pay-per-view, we could have 5 or 6 pay-per-views a year, but just when we want to give people the exposure, we've got to build the stars. Like Justice, great talent. Teremoana, fantastic. But we've got to give them the audience before they land on pay-per-view. Jai is a pay-per-view fighter. He's earned his right. But beyond that, I'd love to keep, we'll be doing a minimum of 4 shows a year here. But I would love to do 8 or 9 or 10 and actually do, maybe with DAZN going free to air or with a big sort of terrestrial broadcaster to showcase boxing. Because I think boxing's big here, but I think you're just scratching the surface.
Sure, you mentioned Teremoana, it's important to have the skills in the ring, but he seems to have the personality outside
sure,
the
yeah.
ring. So how big a star do you think he can be?
Massive, but when I look at stars, like the key is you've got to be able to fight. Right? You can be funny, you can be great company, you can be bubbly. If you can't fight at that level, it don't matter. Teremoana's got it all. He can fight, he's tough, he's strong, he's got good fundamentals, he can punch, and he's a character, and he's funny, and he's great to be around. But he's got the full package, in my opinion, to go on and be a real force in the division. But again, same thing what I said with Teremoana as the others. You've got to give them. Those guys are lucky. The ones that get the international fights and the international exposure, could be Justice. Look at Paro now. Kambosos did it against Teofimo Lopez. Skye Nicholson's been boxing around the world. The world knows that fighter. They're building a social media presence. But just to stay in Australia in a restricted audience, it's not going to build the brand. So Teremoana obviously boxed in Monaco. He's boxing here. He's going to box in Sydney in March. We'll fight him in America. We'll fight him in the UK. You can really build a following for him.
Yeah, going back to the Skye for a moment, we saw Amanda Serrano on that huge pay-per-view, the Tyson report.
Yeah.
I have never seen so many non-boxing people come up to me and mention, the Cross fight was awesome.
Yeah.
So much for the main event, the Cross fight was so good. And now I know Skye's been chasing that Serrano fight. How likely is she to get that in 2025?
I don't think she'll get it because I think Serrano is coming to the end of her career. I think she's looking for the massive paydays. And although Skye's profile is growing tremendously, is it going to give her the massive money? And I think they know, don't forget, probably a year ago, Skye Nicolson said to me, get me Amanda Serrano. I was like, calm down. She'd had, 8 fights. I was like, whoa. And then all of a sudden, she steps up. She boxed Sarah Mahfood for the world title. She was box rec number 2 behind Serrano. it was a horrific mismatch. I mean, she won every second of every round for the world title. She then beat Vargas, then she boxed Raven Chapman, which was supposed to be a 50-50. She lost like one round. And that, like, I think she's the best fighter in the division. I think she will beat Amanda Serrano, but I also understand if you're Serrano, why would you take that risk unless the money was there? You want to fight Taylor for the third time. So I think more importantly for Skye, it's how can she achieve her goal of becoming undisputed? And by doing that, you have to go through the other champions, put pressure on the governing bodies, because Serrano hasn't, I don't think she's defended her belt for a year now. So sooner or later, that belt's going to become vacant, and Skye wants to win all of them.
You mentioned like with Skye, like you're just so focused on Serrano. So always mentioning her. How dangerous is that when you're too focused on one person? You can just slip on a banana.
Yeah, I mean, she's got a mandatory in Tiara Brown, who's a former world amateur champion. I think she's 16-17-0. She's really good. It's a really dangerous fight, but she's mandatory. You have to do it to, when you're a world champion. So I think she's kind of put Serrano out of her head now. I don't think she believes she'll fight her. I think she's right. So don't worry about her. Focus on the belts. Nina Menka's the IBF champion. The WBA champion will become. Serrano's got WBA, WBO. They're going to become vacant at some point. So, but right now you've got to focus on Tiara Brown because that looks like the next fight.
Yeah, I have to ask you, AJ.
Yeah.
He said in a recent interview he's hoping to become a 3-time champion in 2025. I guess the fight that makes sense for everyone is the Fury fight. How keen are you to make that? And Fury doesn't seem too keen at the moment. So I think,
look, it's difficult for Fury. He's just, 10 days off a defeat to Usyk. I think he's feeling probably a bit down in the dumps, and it's going to take a while for him to... But who is there? Like, I think if Fury fights again, he has to fight AJ. And AJ's, for me, he's only got 2 fights. Dubois rematch or Tyson Fury. What else is there to... They've both fought everybody. People will sometimes say, AJ Fury, it's very late in the day, that fight. It's the biggest fight in boxing by a mile. And people, no, it's not. I said, God, tell me another fight that's bigger than AJ against Fury. It doesn't exist. So commercially, I think that fight will get made. But Fury's going to have his rest and see how he feels about everything.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it would have been great to get that fight before Wilder stepped in and enforced that lawsuit to make his third fight happen. But it is what it is. I think to close out this era of heavyweights, how important it is to have that one last epic fight.
Yeah, I mean, like if you're AJ and you fight Tyson Fury, you would have boxed Tyson Fury, Dubois, Usyk, Klitschko, Povetkin, Ruiz, Parker, Dillian White, Francis Ngannou. I mean, his resume is unbelievable, and I hope he's respected for that. He still wants to become world champion, so he wants the Dubois rematch as well. Dangerous fight, but it's a dangerous game.
And turning our attention to Wednesday, David Nyika, you mentioned it was a fight you're hoping to make 12 months down the line. A lot of people have been saying that it is a little early for Nyika, especially the bookies. What do you make of that? It's
100% early for him. It's obvious. Doesn't mean he can't win. Do you know what I mean? I mean, if he's a special fighter, you're capable of doing special things, and he has to do special things on Wednesday because Jai is the best in the division. But it's not just a guy that's been plucked out of the rankings. It's a guy that has pedigree. It's a guy that has the fundamentals. It's a guy that has a lot of ambition, mentally. But it's one thing saying you believe. Do you really believe? If he really believes, he's got a big shot in this fight. But it ain't going to be easy.
I know Jai isn't looking past David Nyika. He's got this intensity that I haven't seen in a very long time.
Yeah.
But I can't help but think that with Usyk getting on in years, surely their paths will cross at one stage.
I actually think Opetaia against Usyk is just one of the best fights to be made. I don't think anyone can really beat Usyk out there in the heavyweight division. Can Jai beat him? It's still a massive, but he's got the boxing skills, he's got the power, he's got the youth, he's got the belief, the mentality, but he's got to build the profile because, again, like we said about Serrano, the only way you're going to get these guys in the ring is to pay them a load of money. And the way you do that is to build a big fight. And, let's get through Wednesday first.
Well, hopefully Turkey can make it happen.
Why not?
But thanks so much for your time.
Cheers.
Mate, and,
Thanks a lot.